Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. OpenAI Agents SDK, Episode 16 of 18. Debugging a multi-agent system with print statements is a nightmare. You watch logs scroll by trying to manually match a tool execution on line 50 with the model generation on line 200. Thankfully, you never have to do that again. This episode is about visualizing workflows with built-in tracing. When developers start building complex agent workflows, their first instinct is often to write custom logging wrappers. They write boilerplate code to track exactly when an agent starts, what arguments a tool receives, and how long the model takes to reply. Do not build this. The Agents SDK handles it for you, completely out of the box. Every time you run an agent, request a generation, or trigger a tool call, the SDK automatically wraps that action in a span. A span is simply a timed, structured record of a single operation. These spans capture the inputs, the outputs, and the duration of the task. They are automatically sent to the OpenAI dashboard. This means you get a full visual timeline of your workflow execution without writing a single line of telemetry code. Here is the key insight. While the SDK handles the granular details, you control the high-level grouping. Say you have a multi-turn scenario where an agent generates a joke, a second agent evaluates it, and the first agent refines it based on the feedback. By default, the SDK will track each of these model generations and tool calls as distinct spans. But to a human looking at a dashboard, this entire back and forth is just one logical unit of work. You can group these actions using a custom trace block. You open a context block using the trace function and give it a descriptive name, like joke generation loop. Inside that block, you execute your multi-turn agent logic. The SDK respects this hierarchy. It will nest all the automatically generated spans for the individual runs, evaluations, and refinements under your custom parent trace. When you open the OpenAI dashboard, you see the top-level joke generation loop first. You can then expand it to investigate the exact sequence of model calls and tool executions that happened inside. That covers visibility, but what about privacy? There are times when you absolutely must not send telemetry. If your agent handles sensitive medical records, financial data, or requires strict zero-data retention compliance, sending input and output logs to a dashboard is a security violation. For these situations, the SDK provides a tracing-disabled context block. When you wrap your agent execution inside this block, the SDK completely stops generating and sending spans. The execution runs locally, the result is returned to your application, but no record of the prompt, the tool calls, or the response will appear on the OpenAI dashboard. Once the code exits that disabled block, normal automatic tracing resumes for the rest of your application. Tracing in the SDK means you stop writing boilerplate logging, get immediate visual debugging, and still retain total control over when your data stays entirely local. That is all for this one. Thanks for listening, and keep building.